Would you buy a house and not research the neighborhood or the state of the house? Probably not, right? So why is it different with software development? Many teams and many companies will say, hey, here's a cool feature. Let's spend a lot of engineering time, which could accumulate to the cost of a house, and it's gonna be cool. Why? Because we think so. Is there any due diligence? Is there any documentation? Often not, and I'm shocked to discover more and more companies that are simply not going through any due diligence or any kind of thought process into why should we do this? What are we solving for? What's going to happen after it's solved? How we're going to deploy it? That's why the PRD is here. Product Requirement Document. Now, before you jump and think, oh, that giant 20-page document that will take 20 months to write, but no one will ever read, hold right there. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a quick document that goes through the basics of what are we trying to solve, for who, and what is the approach in order to align your stakeholders, the company, the founders, the engineering, other products, sales, customer accounts, anyone with a slice of knowledge about your business so they can pitch in and say, here's why it's a good idea, here's why it's a bad idea, and based on all that data, get to a good decision. And that's why I created a PRD generator. If you've been following my previous posts, I embarked on a journey to learn how to create web apps from scratch using low code. And here's my first version, my first product. I selected PRDs as my first problem space because it takes a long time, it takes a lot of thought process to just even get started. So I created a tool to get us started very, very fast. So here it is. Here's the version 0.1 of the PRD generator. So what have we got here? We got a few input parameters. I'm going to walk you through them. And right here, we're going to have a PRD generated with a copy button. You press that copy button, you copy and paste it to whichever tool you use. It's still ugly as but that's 0.1, very ugly. My wife's going to help me on the UI and UX. She's a UI UX designer. But yeah, so what have we got here? First, the goal. Let's be sure that we know why we even created a PRD. I've heard too many folks saying we create PRDs because that's a process. That's the goal. Doesn't sound like a goal to me. So I will start by making sure that there's a goal to the creation of that PRD. I created a default state, which is help me and my stakeholders understand why I should work on this feature, or help you realize that in fact you should invest resources in it. If your goal is different, please state it here. Then the second step will be, if you have a PRD structure that exists in your company, describe it here. There's a step for execution that will come later, ignore it for now. Some context on what is your company, what is your industry. So here I added for context something I actually worked on when I was in Grubhub. And I added Grubhub Campus is an extension of Grubhub, a leading food ordering and delivery system. The campus focus is specifically tailored to the needs and preferences of college students and university campuses. Cool. That's the context. What space are we evolving on? What is our company doing? And what is our overall product? Now, what is our product? What is that PRD about? In this case, a check-in mechanism for CFA store, Chick-fil-A, which will enable mobile users to get fresh food compliant with the Chick-fil-A corporate standards. A NFC-based check-in mechanism for mobile orders of Chick-fil-A that will validate the physical presence of the user in the Chick-fil-A venue. Awesome. Step 4. Who do you think would be wise to get feedback from on your PRD? Let's say, for example, founder and CEO and sales. Let's press submit. And there we are. I edited out the waiting time because it takes about 1.5 minutes. I'm gonna work on the speed here. We got our PRD with a title, what's the purpose and background, features, descriptions and scope. It's placeholder, but it should get you started and give you a nice head start, or give you ideas about what to put in that PRD. Who's your stakeholders? A head start on stories and requirements, functional, non-functional requirements, acceptance criteria, dependency and risk, milestone and deadlines. it seems like my tool ignored my request to get sales input. It must be a bug. I'll fix it at some point. The CO input request is a bit generic, and it looks like currently my tool felt like it has to request CO input on everything. So we're going to work on making sure CO input is requested on things that make sense to ask for a CO from the CEO. And let's say we're happy with that baseline. I'm going to press copy, open my doc, and paste it. And voila, we get some junk generated in the process. But that's not a bad head start. Of course, there's some editing to do, but I probably saved myself already at least 1 or 2 hours to get started, to get a good base. It's still very generic. It might not be the best or the most concise structure, but it's 0.1. And just to put things in context, after I learned the basics of my stack, which is composed of Webflow for the front end, Wized for the logic of the front end, and Xano for database and backend, it took me about 3 hours to put that thing together, which is really cool. Also, obviously, as you probably have guessed, I am using OpenAI APIs to generate the content. All these input parameters are helping me craft both the context that I would provide to OpenAI, but also to craft the actual prompt. And that's GPT-4, which is quite amazing. It can handle really complex requests, very complex context, and that's without any very specific fine-tuning. I did not even request a very specific structure. We could evolve in so many directions, and that's where I would love your input on what would you like to see in that tool. I'm already thinking in directions of is it a small company? Is it a big company? How many product teams are there? Because in the end, I want a product requirement document that will be actually used and not be one of these endless documentation docs which no one will look at. It's really a doc that should help the team focus and understand, should we do it? And if yes, have a good reasoning for it, or should we not do it? Which is also a huge win because you just saved a ton of engineering and resources. Let me know what you think in a comment, and stay tuned as I keep working on that tool. See ya.